Hi, I'm Mike Turner, your friendly filmmaker, and today we're going to talk about the A6400 and the Canon C100 Mark II. Because in seasons of past, and when I say seasons, I'm talking about the wedding season, because I shoot a lot of weddings, I was using this camera as my main camera, and this kind of as my B camera. But this past season, I kind of swapped that, and I'm going to explain why. So stay right there. You're going to want to see this. All right, so let's get into it. So, like I said, for the past few years, I've been using a cinema camera, whether it was the C100 Mark II or my JVC LS300. I would use either one of those cameras as my main camera at weddings, and then I would use this Sony A6400 on a tripod, just getting a wide shot for the ceremony or the reception. That's typically how I was doing it. Let's just get into some of the different features of both cameras, and it will probably shed some light on why I changed. But let's start with the C100. This is an amazing camera. It is very old at this point. It might be 7 or 8 years old. I don't even remember when this came out exactly, but I've only owned it for about 2 years. It only shoots 1080p, but the 1080p looks really, really good. And then of course you have some other features that are nice when it comes to a cinema camera. You have the handle itself, which just makes carrying the thing pretty simple. And then on the handle, you have these XLR ports, which allow you to plug in different microphones. And then on top of that, you can also adjust the gain levels of the mics using dials, real dials, not a touchscreen, but dials. Just makes you quicker. I mean, of course, there's other things. I mean, there's a headphone jack on there. There's a full-size HDMI output, just a bunch of different things. And then, of course, the fact that you have all these buttons to access different functions like white balance, zebras, focus peaking. There's a button to magnify, for focusing, all types of stuff. And you have dedicated buttons. So that makes this a really, really cool, convenient camera. And really, really good battery life. And of course, a nice flip screen that you can flip towards you, and autofocus, and it goes on and on and on and on. Now let's get to the A6400. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that this is a lot smaller. Because it's smaller, it's also lighter. On both of these cameras, the way I would typically shoot is with a zoom lens. So this one has a 24 to 105 millimeter f4. This one has the 18 to 105 millimeter f4. Both are very good lenses. I feel like the Canon one looks just a little bit better in terms of image quality, but they're both very, very good. But here's the thing, like I mentioned on the C100, yes, it has really good autofocus, but this is an older camera. It's the dual pixel autofocus that is very popular in a lot of Canon cameras, but it doesn't work as well as the newer Canon cameras. This is a newer camera. This has only been out for like 3 years, I think. And the focusing system in this for video, because we're talking video here, is amazing. A bunch of times I'll leave it on during a procession and I will tap the screen on whoever's walking down the aisle and it will keep them in focus the whole way. I don't have to manually focus. There's no need for that. Matter of fact, this gimbal came with a little focusing attachment. I never even use it because I don't need it, because the focusing is so good in this camera, it's not necessary. So that's one of the major reasons I use this, because the focusing works so good. It's much lighter. The battery life can't even come close to what I can get with the C100. I mean, with the aftermarket battery, I think I get like up to 4 hours of record time. And this one, I'm getting like maybe an hour and 10 minutes, 15 minutes or something like that. And then I have to swap batteries. But the batteries are not expensive for this, so it's not really a big deal. I just have spares with me at all times. But I love this thing. And the lens, this 18-105 is a motorized power zoom, which you think is not a big deal, but it is. It's just so much easier to just use my finger to zoom in and out. And obviously I'm on a gimbal already, so the shot is going to be steady, but it makes it steadier because I can zoom in and out and I'm not shaking up the camera to do that. I'm not having to twist the barrel or anything like that. One of the downsides though is it doesn't have built-in ND filters like the C100, but if you can see here, this is an ND filter right on it. The screw-on ND filter, screw it on, and then it's a variable ND, so you twist it to make your image lighter or darker, and I find that works fine. Doesn't cause me any problems. That's just the way I shoot now. Not a big deal. But I think the biggest reason why I switched is really because it's lighter. I mean, that is definitely the biggest reason. It's lighter and the image quality is awesome. It's just as good as the C100. Maybe older Sony mirrorless cameras weren't good. You know, some people used to complain about the image quality, but their newer line of mirrorless cameras, they all have really good image quality right out of the camera. You don't have to shoot log if you don't want to, but if you do want to, it's in there too. So you can shoot log, get more dynamic range and stuff. But I typically don't. I just shoot picture profile 4. I tweak it just a little bit, and right out the camera, it just looks the way I want it to look, and I really don't have to grade it. So it's just really quick to use. And on the gimbal, well, now I'm getting a steadier shot at all times. So I tend to record longer, which is good. I have more footage to use because my shot is always smooth. In the past, with the C100, I was using this. I was using this monopod. This is the Sirye, or Siryu, I don't know how you pronounce it. Excellent monopod. I still take it with me to every single wedding. And a lot of times for the ceremony, I'll use the Sony on this. And I'll also use it during like the speeches, during the reception. I'll take it off the gimbal and I'll put it on this instead because I don't want to hold the gimbal for 30 minutes at a time. It's just easier to use a monopod. Yeah, so you might be thinking, well, why don't you just get like a newer cinema camera? Why don't you get something like C200 or a C70, a Canon C70, a Canon C200, or Sony FX6 or something like that? And the reason really is because I find like those cameras for what I'm doing are expensive and somewhat overkill for what I need. I feel like the Sony just pretty much handles everything that I need in a very small package and a very inexpensive package. So I just don't see the need to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for a high-end camera like that. But at the same time, I'm shooting this video now with the Panasonic X1500. That's what I'm shooting this with, which is similar to something like a C100, except it has a fixed lens on it. Like I said, I still see the benefits to having a camcorder for sure. For certain types of work that I do, I'd rather use that. So I kind of still want to have a camcorder in my lineup, and I'm trying this one out to see if maybe it might replace this, because I don't know that I need an interchangeable lens system to just be on a tripod getting a wide shot. So we'll see. I'll let you guys know how it goes. So look forward to some new videos coming out about the X1500. If you're interested in those, make sure you subscribe. And, you know, I would love to hear how you guys are shooting your live events, especially if you're doing weddings or using a mirrorless camera. And are any of you still using a camcorder to shoot your weddings? I would really like to know. And I'd really like to see some of your work if you are. So, as always, thanks for watching. I'm Mike Turner, and I guess I'll see you soon.